Right now, somewhere in your body, a memory of sadness you never dealt with is still being stored. Not as a thought, as inflammation, as tension, as a signal your organs are quietly reacting to every single day. We treat sadness like it lives in your head. It doesn't. It lives in your chest, your gut, your bloodstream. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why doctors are starting to take. For decades, we separated the body from the mind. Physical health went to the doctor. Emotional health went nowhere mostly. But researchers studying the mind-body connection have found something uncomfortable. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between an emotional threat and a physical one. Heartbreak, grief, chronic worry. Your body responds to all of it with the same biological toolkit it would use for real danger. That toolkit was built to save your life in short bursts. The problem starts when it never turns off. Let's start with the most literal example science has ever documented, a condition called Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, more commonly known as broken heart syndrome. It happens after intense emotional shock, the loss of a loved one, a sudden breakup, devastating news. A flood of stress hormones temporarily stuns the heart muscle, and the left ventricle changes shape, weakening its ability to pump. The symptoms look almost identical to a heart attack: chest pain, shortness of breath. And it's not rare. It's documented in cardiology literature worldwide, more often in women, most often after a major emotional loss. Most people recover in weeks, but it proves something most of us don't want to admit. Emotional pain can produce a measurable physical injury to your heart, not a metaphor, an actual medical event. Your gut has its own nervous system. Scientists call it the enteric nervous system, and it's so complex some researchers nickname it the second brain. Here's why that matters. Your gut and your brain are in constant communication through something called the gut-brain axis. When you're sad or anxious for a long period, that communication line gets flooded with stress signals, and your gut responds. This is why chronic sadness so often shows up as stomach pain, bloating, appetite changes, or a diagnosis of irritable bowel syndrome that never fully explains itself. The gut isn't malfunctioning, it's reacting exactly the way it's designed to when your nervous system stays on high alert. Now here's the part that surprises most people. Prolonged sadness and chronic overthinking can physically change the structure of your brain. When cortisol, your primary stress hormone, stays elevated for too long, research links it to shrinkage in the hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for memory and emotional regulation. That's part of why prolonged sadness can create a loop that's hard to break. The very brain region that's supposed to help you regulate your emotions is being weakened by the emotions it's trying to regulate. It's not a lack of willpower. It's biology working against you. Ever notice you get sick right after a hard emotional stretch? That's not a coincidence. Chronic emotional stress is associated with elevated inflammatory markers in the blood, the same markers linked to autoimmune flare-ups, slower wound healing, and a weakened immune response. Loneliness in particular has been studied extensively, and researchers have found it correlates with measurable changes in immune function, comparable in some studies to other major physical health risk factors. Your body isn't being dramatic. It's responding to a threat it perceives as ongoing, because as far as your nervous system is concerned, it is. This next one is the most unsettling. At the tip of every chromosome in your cells are structures called telomeres. They protect your DNA every time a cell divides, and they naturally shorten with age. Multiple studies have linked chronic psychological stress to accelerated telomere shortening, essentially cellular aging sped up. One well-known study on caregivers under prolonged emotional strain found their cells showed signs of aging equivalent to roughly a decade older than their actual age. Sadness doesn't just feel heavy, In some cases, it may be aging you faster than the calendar says you should be. You know this one. You're exhausted, you lie down, and your brain picks that exact moment to replay every conversation from the last 5 years. This isn't random. When you're anxious or sad, your body can stay stuck in a low-grade fight or flight state, releasing small amounts of adrenaline and cortisol at night. Those hormones are designed to keep you alert, which is the opposite of what your body needs to fall asleep. So you're not failing at relaxing. You're fighting a hormonal signal that's telling your body to stay on guard. Here's the turn. Because this video isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to explain what your body's been trying to tell you. Three things consistently show up across the research as genuinely effective. 1. Regulated breathing. Slow, deep breathing activates the vagus nerve and can shift your body out of fight or flight within minutes. 2. Movement. Even light physical activity helps metabolize stress hormones instead of letting them sit in your system. 3. Connection. Talking to another person, a friend, a therapist, anyone, has been shown repeatedly to lower the same inflammatory markers we talked about earlier. Isolation feeds the problem. Connection interrupts it. None of this means you should ignore how you feel or push through it alone. If sadness has been sitting with you for a long time, that's worth talking to a professional about. Not because something's wrong with you, but because your body has clearly been asking for help this whole time. So the next time someone tells you to just get over it, you'll know the truth. Your heart, your gut, your brain, and even your cells have been keeping score the entire time. Sadness was never just in your head, it was in every part of you. And now, so is the science to prove it. If this changed how you think about your own body, subscribe. Because next time, we're covering the one organ we haven't even touched on yet, and what chronic stress does to it might be the most surprising one of all.